MPN's Power Player is sponsored by ZDMS Dealer Management System, the heart of technology in your dealership and the engine that drives productivity and profitability. Schedule a demo today at zdms.com.
Hey everybody, Evan Laux here for Motorcycle and Powersports News. Thanks again for tuning in to another Power Players episode. Today we're joined by Sean Rucker of Sport Bike Chic, and they make some really good women's riding gear for women riders everywhere. Sean, thanks for being in today.
Thanks for having me.
And before we get to the brand, for people who don't know your name, who is Sean Rucker? Tell us about your motorcycle history and how you got into the community.
Well, I actually woke up one morning and I went and bought a motorcycle.
Okay.
And I went on YouTube to try to figure out how to ride it. So it has been quite the journey. I'd taken the MSF course, the Motorcycle Safety Foundation course, about 5 years prior to that. But I never even thought about riding. I just went with a friend because, he wanted a wing person. Said, yeah, it was great. It was fun. I passed, so that's always a great thing. But then that morning, it was in July, I just woke up and said, I'm going to buy a motorcycle. So that was really what started it all. And then I moved down to North Carolina. That's when I actually started to learn how to ride a little bit more. And I always said, I'm just going to stay on the back roads of Fuquay, and then that's all I'm going to do.
That's always how it starts.
That's all I'm going to do. Next thing you know, I'm getting on the highway a little bit more. Then I'm going to the beach. Then I'm riding to Mississippi. Then I'm riding across country. And, next thing you know, I'm starting a motorcycle line. So as far as my career path, I actually used to fix CT scanners.
Okay.
And then I went into tech support management. Now I'm a consultant in the medical industry. So I have obviously the full-time job, which I really enjoy. It's really interesting and kind of fascinating. But it also, with Sport Bike Chic, it gives me opportunity to have a little bit more of a creative outlet and really be able to provide a different type of service to women motorcyclists that are out there. It started out as a pretty selfish journey, I think. I wanted to have a purse because I was at Bike Week one week, and I was coming back from Walmart having all the stuff just shoved in my jacket because I had no place to put it, and I refused to get a tank bag because I wanted something more feminine. And I'm thinking, surely there must be something out there. So I'm riding back from Walmart with these little little white bags on the handlebars, ever so slowly back to the hotel, and then that's it. And I went home after that, and I started experimenting with some of my favorite purses with magnets in the bottom that I just found at Home Depot, and I'm like, that's not strong enough. Then I went to Granger and got some more and some bigger and more powerful ones. Then I'm thinking the concept. So I figured I had the concept down at least. And that's when I brought in a prototype manufacturer, and they were able to get a solid working prototype for me. I'm thinking, this is it. This is it. And around the same time, I also wanted to have some jeans because, again, I'd been in an accident a couple of years back or a couple of years prior, and I really started to focus a little bit more on motorcycle safety. So I wanted more protective gear. So I was just looking out for some jeans for myself. And then I thought about it. I'm like, man, if I can't fit some of these jeans that I'm finding in some of the stores, then what about some of the other folks that are out here?
Right.
And I was looking at the price. I was looking at the sizes. I was looking at the styles. And I wanted more. And my manufacturer saying, well, what about this? What about this? I'm thinking, look, it's just me. I used to fix CT scanners for Pete's sake. I'm not an entrepreneur. I'm not trying to, build a brand. I wanted a purse. But since we're here, why not give it a shot?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I got my first set of jeans over, and I'm like, this is not going to work. And that's when I really had to that's when I really understood what the challenges were when it came to motorcycle gear. When it comes to gear, a lot of it's probably built for the masses, right? And with the U.S. being such a small, it's a big motorcycle community, but it's small in comparison to the rest of the globe, right? And the U.S. is more so for luxury as opposed to necessity in other countries. Okay. So if that's the case, if you're riding because you are, or if you're manufacturing, you're accommodating masses, the U.S. is probably not going to be your first point of contact. You're probably going to focus on the people that are going to buy it more. And those are the folks that may have a smaller frame. So someone had to be very intentional about going out and building something for the U.S. market. And I think that's where I came in. So I really focus a lot on looking at the styles, looking at the sizes, and some of those very specific pieces that are for women, right? We need a lot of forgiveness because we have different shapes, different sizes, different heights even. So everyone has different heights, but we do have different shapes out there.
Right.
So you have to have some forgiveness. You have to think about some of those things when you're designing any kind of gear. So I tried to marry up as much as possible the size factor, and of course, bringing in quality products, bringing in quality manufacturers that were able to accommodate and really help develop and build a brand. Of course, we had local talent and local resources that are available in North Carolina to help with our research and development.
Definitely. And I know you said selfish because you wanted the purse, but
I really wanted the purse.
it doesn't sound selfish to me. I'm sure there's a lot of women out here that, have been wanting the same thing and wanting clothing tailored specifically to them. Are there any areas of women's riding apparel specifically that you wanted to kind of improve that wasn't getting hit on specifically by the market?
I think jeans. I think jeans is going to be one that I really wanted to focus on improving a lot more, just because, again, there's a lot of variation of what's in our women's sizes, but there are not a lot of options. Yes, they're growing, but at the same time, this is where you have the biggest need. Regardless of whether you ride sport bikes, whether you ride cruisers or anything else, jeans are jeans. You're going to wear some jeans. In addition to that, sometimes people forget about the people that aren't actually riding, like the passengers, right? So you still have, again, women are women. So when it comes down to the gear, having the basic pieces of jeans, that's going to be my central focus, just because there's such a need out there. Yes, we want to focus on the jackets and continue to develop those, but you have other challenges when it comes to jackets and sizes. But these are the ones that I really wanted to start out with, provide more options and provide more styles for our women.
Perfect. What was the kind of time frame? Did you start with the purse and then get to the jeans and the jacket? What was the first product offering you had?
Probably the purse. Maybe the purse was about the first. The purse and the jeans happened at the same time. I think the purse took a little bit longer to develop, but once we got the patent in place, that was available relatively quickly. So those were the two things that I really started to focus on. And as we started to look at different jackets, we started out with the couple. They were okay, and I kind of scaled back a little bit so I could really start to focus on just these two. Mm-hmm. And then afterwards start to bring in more options. But I think that's where we were.
And speaking on the industry for a second, like you said, women are obviously the minority in the motorcycle community, but that minority has grown a lot in the past decade. Now if you look up numbers, women make up 20% of the rider community, up from like 10% a decade ago. Mm-hmm. Why do you think that number's jumped so much recently, and how do you see that number changing in the near future?
I think women have always been capable of doing anything they wanted to do. I think there have been so many boundaries that have just been removed, and so many barriers that have been removed, and I see a lot more women making an impact in just about any place they go. There's not necessarily one reason or the other. I mean, as I teach motorcycle safety, I have a lot of women that come into the class, and they have for various reasons of why they want to ride. Some wanted to share the experience with their spouse or their partner. Some wanted to just have something new to do in life. And they've had kids, they had all kinds of other experiences, but this is one they've always wanted to try. Mm-hmm. So they may try that. We have maybe millennials that may come in and they just wanted to do something fun or have another mode of transportation. But either way, regardless of how they start, the interesting part is that women are present. And when I say present, when I go to a lot of the motorcycle rallies, there are a lot of all-female rides, a lot of women motorcycling events out there. You have MOMR, the Mid-Atlantic Women's Motorcycle Rally that I'm going to like shortly after this. I just came back from an all-female ride in Alabama. There's all kinds of ones that go on every year. So I think when it comes to women, we're so present that you just kind of, I don't want to say take over everything, but we definitely become involved and show our passion for what we're doing by just giving all you can. So I see a lot of women getting involved in the motorcycle industry, but then maybe that's the thing that influences other women to do so. Mm-hmm. So when I see little girls look at me when I'm riding down the street and they're like, oh, wow, she's on a motorcycle. It's kind of cool, right? And so you do your little wave, and you never know, that may be the next motorcycle that's coming out there because you see someone else doing it. So sometimes that whole representation really does matter.
Yeah, that's definitely great to hear. Obviously, we want as many women joining the community as possible, just building up such a fun sport and community.
Absolutely.
Before we get into the next question, we know a lot of you watching are in the power sports community and industry. A lot of you are working at dealerships. ZDMS is dealership technology that offers both productivity and reliability. So guys, watch this to see how that can work for you.
As many of you know, taking physical inventory is something you do once, maybe twice a year, and sometimes you avoid it altogether. With large quantities of parts, accessories, chemicals, tires, and various other merchandise throughout your store, it's not a simple task to complete. There is a better solution. A solution that gives you the ability to cycle inventory counts anytime without disruption to your business. That solution? ZDMS RFID Physical Inventory. With RFID tags placed on inventory, you can cycle counts or conduct physical inventory with the RFID handheld scanner by simply pulling the trigger and walking around your dealership. RFID scanners do not require line of sight, so counters don't need to bend down under partitions, climb shelves, or position items to be visually seen to be counted in most cases. Contact your ZDMS representative to learn more about RFID physical inventory and how ZDMS is the only dealer management system in the power sports industry building the technology your dealership needs.
So Sean, we have a number of your products right here that we're going to get into in a second, but I want to ask you the big question. Obviously, there's a lot of motorcycle gear out there. You got textile jackets, you got leather jackets, you got all kinds of helmets and stuff. And the big question is, can safety, fashion, and comfort all coexist at the same time?
My question is not always can it happen, but how can it happen, right? So how can we build in fashion and comfort and safety in the same thing? And I think that's one thing that we try to focus on. I always test out all the gear just to make sure that it is comfortable, and I'll know whether something's warm or not, or if it's tight or not, if it fits weird or something. And I make sure that, if I'm introducing something to the market, that it's something that I would wear, right? So I do wear my own gear when I'm riding because, well, it only makes sense. But I designed it for a reason, right? So when it comes down to those aspects of women and women motorcyclists with our very specific issues, whether it's about waist, whether it's about a little extra lip in the back so that, some of those extra pieces aren't exposed, whether it's just about the ankle zipper that gives a different cut. There are all kinds of little different things that, you can consider, and you can make it something that's a little bit more stylish, as comfortable as possible, and yeah, definitely protective. Now, hot is hot. Right? North Carolina in the summertime is North Carolina in the summertime. Mm-hmm. That means regardless of what you have on, you're going to be hot. But at the same time, I'd rather be warmer than, the alternative, or we always say dress for the slide as opposed to the ride. And I think that's something I take very seriously.
Definitely. And you brought some products in for us today. All of these are available through Sport Bike Chic, and like you said, they're very stylish. We actually had one of our videographers say before the interview that she would just get the jacket. So I told her she has to learn to ride a bike first, and then she can get one.
There you go.
Why don't you walk us through some of your offerings here?
So this is our patented tank purse. This is my favorite thing out here because I just love it. This is a labor of love, my passion design. Basically, there are magnets on the bottom of this, okay? And when you put it on a motorcycle, obviously it sticks, right? But then when you take it off the motorcycle, you peel it off, the flaps fold in because of course it's magnetic. And then you just put your little clamps back on, and you just wear it as a crossbody,
Okay.
right? So very functional, very stylish, but at the same time, it's practical.
Yeah, I mean, you could wear that out anywhere. It doesn't look specifically like.
Absolutely. And I think the biggest thing is that every time I get on my motorcycle, if I don't have this, I feel naked, because now, well, what am I going to do with this or this aspect? And if I'm going to, get gas, where am I going for different aspects? So I think this is the thing that's just the most functional, most practical for me to have. So if you have a metal tank, like, this is one thing I always recommend. It has lots of pockets, all those things that we really consider, just like a normal purse, except for it's a tank purse. So I love this. The jeans, obviously, they're lined with 100% Kevlar. They have the Kevlar that goes all the way down to the to mid shin for maximum coverage, and all those impact points are covered. And then we have our new interchangeable jackets. This is something that we're really just introducing to the market. With these, you can actually take out all of your protective pieces, like the Kevlar lining, the armor that's already on the inside and that's fitted. You can unzip it with one zipper, take out all the good stuff, and then put it in a jacket of another color, just to break it up a little bit. So right now we pretty much have the lighter versions, but later on we can certainly have a heavier version to, if it's warmer and then in the afternoon, then in the morning time you can switch it up relatively quickly and relatively easily, and you can kind of fold it up and even stick it in your purse when you're done with it. But another option, again, all we're trying to really do is bring more options to our women motorcyclists so that we remove any obstacles, any excuses for why gear is not being worn and why it's not available.
Right. That's obviously a great idea, because who wants to wear a black jacket 100% of the time?
Oh, exactly. That's my point.
Makes things more
Give me a
interesting.
bright pink any day.
Now, what about materials on these products? Where do you source your materials? Where are they coming from?
So we have different places that we're sourcing everything from. Our jackets or shirts and our jeans, these are being sourced from Pakistan. Our purses are for China for right now. But it's something that we're always looking at evolving. At some point, it'd be nice to bring it back to the States. But right now, this is the most economical, and they have expertise over there to give what we need right now.
Definitely. Where do you get your ideas for new products, and is there anything you're cooking up? I know you said the jackets are patent pending currently.
Mm-hmm. And this is already patented. My new products come from, a couple of different places. Obviously, I ride. So when I need something, I just think about it. I wonder, is this something someone else would want, right? So when I think about some of the features of a jacket or some of the features of jeans that I want, how can we introduce that? Or is it something that's just for Sean, myself, or is it something that other women would want? We also take the feedback from women motorcyclists and passengers. We get that from the website. We actually have, like this week, I have a focus group that's coming up, get their direct feedback, understand what it is that they want. Also, if I go to different trade shows or different motorcycle events, again, this is about getting, again, that feedback and interacting. Motorcycling is a community sport. It's a community that you get to be a part of. And, part of that is actually being, just like I said, being a part of it. So when I look at what women want for this particular piece, their input is super valuable, because if I'm designing something for myself, unless I'm going to buy all of it, it's kind of pointless.
Right.
So I really want to be able to bring the colors, bring the needs, bring the desires, and really start to hear what people are telling me, so that, again, I can bring things to the market that they want to see.
Mm-hmm. That's really great to hear. And again, we love, kind of that notion of inclusivity and making motorcycle available to all people. Sean, is there anything else you'd like to add to our audience today? It's been really great hearing about your products and women in motorsports.
Only that it's just been a pleasure being here and talking about it. This really is something that I'm very passionate about, and I really want to be able to bring something that's, valuable to the market, valuable to women motorcyclists, and really start to continue to see those things grow and see the women motorcyclists grow. it's almost inevitable, but I really would like to kind of be a part of that growth and really help to support in any way I can.
Perfect. Well, Sean, thanks for coming in today. Everybody, thanks for watching. This has been another episode of Power Players. Again, we were joined by Sean Rucker of Sport Bike Chic today. Make sure you're checking them out. They have some really good products here. And make sure you're following Motorcycle Powersports News for some great motorcycle and powersports content. Thanks for watching, guys.